Hi and welcome back to my channel, Sunshine Lorena. So today this is going to be an ebook haul of the ebooks I've bought since December time. I've been buying a lot of ebooks recently. I haven't bought so much. I have bought some physical books, but not too many. I'm very conscious of space because we live in a one-bedroom flat, so I'm very conscious of space and not wanting to take up too much space with books. So I've been buying a lot more ebooks recently, but also there's just been so many good deals. There's just been too many good deals, and I haven't been able to resist buying any of these. So I'm just gonna run through. I think I have about 12 that I've bought over since December, over about 2.5 months or so. I'm just going to go through them with the basic premise, and yes, hopefully maybe you found a recommendation, or if you've read any of these, let me know how you found it. So the first one that I bought was June, and this is actually the film. I think it's supposed to come out this year. It was supposed to come out last year, and yes, it's by Frank Herbert. It's the first one in, I think it's, I want to say 3, but there might be more than 3. It might not be a trilogy, it might be more parts to it, but it's science fiction, which isn't something I really explore into, not something I really enjoy reading. I will watch the films, but yes, I picked this up because I know it's one of the kind of science fiction novels to read, so I want to see if I actually enjoy it. And I've mentioned this in one of my other videos. I think it was my anticipated reads. So yes, it's set in space, and I think there's going to be some sort of war in between them, because there's this planet that the natural resource on there creates this drug, it's used to create a drug that I think extends life or something, and yes, I think people want to control it, and yes, I'm not too sure of the full premise, but I know it's one of the sci-fi books, so I'm gonna give it a go. The next one I bought, I have to say, actually, when I said most of these ones, I think they were basically 99 pence each when I bought them. So the next one's actually non-fiction, and that is In Order to Live, a North Korean Girl's Journey to Freedom, and it's by Yeonmi Park. I have read another one, was it The Girl with 7 Names? I can't remember the author's name. About 4 years ago. Again, it was like escaping Korea, so it's the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but the same sort of autobiography, going through living in North Korea and escaping. So I saw this one, and I enjoyed the other autobiography by that other woman, so I thought, I'll try another one and read it and also see other people's stories, and yes, I am trying to read a little bit more out of kind of northern, global north, English speaking countries. I'm trying to expand my my reading, and I've not picked up non-fiction in a little while, so I think that'd be a really good one to pick up and get into. And then I bought The Hunted, and it's by Gabrielle Bergamonster. So this one is a horror book, I believe. I remember reading the synopsis and thought that sounded really good. It's not too long, it's about 200 pages, and it is so the synopsis is, Frank owns a service station on Little Used Highway. His granddaughter Ali is sent to stay with him for summer, but they don't talk a lot. Simon is a dreamer and an idealist, enthralled to the romance of open road and desperately in search of something. Maggie is the woman who will bring them all together, someone whose own personal journey will visit unimaginable terror on them all. So yes, it sounds really fun. It's also set, I believe it's set in the Australian outback, and I can't think I have ever read a book that's set in Australia in general. And yes, it's more in the horror genre, so I thought that sounded really fun. It's not something that I think somebody mentioned in a video, and I can't remember who, and then I saw it for sale and I thought I'll give it a go, like with all these. And yes, so the next one again is another non-fiction. Now this is by Chris Stewart, and this is book 2, in the Lemons trilogy. I read the first one like I think 4 years ago. I'm probably have to go back and reread the first one, because 4 years, it's been a while. I need to kind of refresh my memory. So the second one's called The Parrot and the Pepper Tree, and this is basically the first one is Driving Over Lemons. It's set in Andalusia, in Spain, and it's about how his family they moved. Is he from the UK? No, he's not. He's from Sweden, sorry. He's from Sweden, and so him and his family moved to the south of Spain, and bought this place that's out in, I think it's out in the countryside, and it's basically this memoirs of their kind of journey, living there, and obviously being involved in the village life there. And I remember quite enjoying that first one. Saw the second one, and I thought that'd be a really fun biography memoir to read. Next one is Bridgerton, The Duke and I, which I read on my romance reading blog, which you can go and check out if you want to. I think everyone knows what Bridgerton's about now. Watched the Netflix series, wanted to read the book, and this was the first one following Daphne and Simon's story. And yes, I enjoyed it, not quite as much as the TV show, but if you want to know all my opinions, you can go and check it out. But yes, read it, and I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 3 stars or 3.5, I can't remember. Then the next one actually is the second Bridgerton book that I bought, and that is The Viscount Who Loved Me, and this is following Anthony, who's the oldest Bridgerton, and his love story. And this is what I believe the second series is going to be based on. So yeah, don't want to say too much more about that, I don't think. And then I picked up The Resident, and this is by David Jackson, and this, I believe, is like a horror thriller type novel. So Thomas Bergen is a serial killer with a trail of bodies in his wake, and the police hot on his heels. It seems like Thomas has nowhere left to hide. That is until he breaks into an abandoned house at the end of a terrace on a quiet street. And when he climbs up into the loft, he realises that he can drop down into all the other houses through the shared attic space. That's when the real fun begins, because the one thing that Thomas enjoys even more than killing is playing games with his victims, the lonely old woman, the bickering couple, the tempting young newlyweds, and his new neighbours have more than enough dark secrets to make this game his best one yet. So that sounds, yes, I'm really intrigued by that premise. And I like how it sounds like it's going to be from his point of view as the serial killer, which I think will be really fun, because quite often I find if it's like involved in the police detective ones, you're always from like the police side, or you will get bits and pieces from the serial killer, but not the whole novel. So I think that's going to be quite interesting. I then picked up Home Before Dark, and this is by Riley Sager, and I've never read any of Riley Sager's books ever. So when I saw this, I was like, I need to pick it up. Last year, because I think it came out in 2020, I saw quite a lot of people speaking about it, so I guess it's my opportunity to give one of his books a read. People seem to really like them, so sounds like a really fun. This one is like a haunted house type story, because this family used to live there, something happened, they moved away, and now the main character, her father's died, and she has to go back and she has to deal with things in the house, and I think creepy things happen. That's kind of as much as I know. I don't want to know too much more. I like kind of an element of mystery when going into kind of thriller horror books, so it sounds really fun. Fun, to kind of work out what's going on, and yes, I'll be interested to see if I like Riley Sager's style of writing. I then got my Dark Vanessa, which came out in 2020, and I did see quite a lot of people speak about this book in 2020, and yes, it's like, again, I got it on a deal, which is great. And this is a literary fiction novel, so something a little bit different from the other ones I've picked up recently. And I did read quite a bit of literary fiction last year, and I do really enjoy it, so it'll be fun to dive back into some literary fiction. How many times can I say literary in a sentence? I don't know. yes, on this one, I believe you get two perspectives. So you have your main character, it's when she's about 30 and everything's coming out now, and then when she's 15. So when she's like 15, she has a relationship with one of her teachers, and now that she's 30, one of the other victims has come out and accused them, and I think everything's coming out with what's happening. And apparently, in this novel, you're obviously getting her trying to deal with everything now as a 30-year-old, and then looking back on that story when she was 15. She's obviously a victim, but I think from what I've kind of heard about it, she didn't, at the time really think she was a victim of kind of abuse or anything. So I think it's her just dealing with everything now as a 30-year-old and trying to look back on that. So yes, I think it'll be a very interesting novel to read, and I like the fact that you're getting two perspectives. It's not just when the story happens, it's also as things are coming out now, which I think will give it a full body to the story to understand kind of what's happened. So the next one I got was The Whisper Man, and it's by Alex North. I've seen loads of people speak about this book. Again, I think it's a thriller more than horror. I think it's thriller, and I don't know a lot about it. I just know that there was serial killer some years ago, and I think the children went missing or something, and then they believe that they got him and they put him behind bars, but now, however many years later, another boy goes missing, and it kind of feels like history might be repeating itself, but I think he's still in jail, so who knows what's happening. So that'd be quite interesting. Another thriller to read. I am really enjoying my thrillers at the moment, so I should hopefully pick that one up soon. Then I bought Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I watched this film a few years ago. I can't remember when it came out. I vaguely remember what it's about. I think it's one of those films that I wasn't really paying attention to it too much when I was watching it. But I believe there's this woman, and she is going out with this guy, and he invites her to go with him to Singapore, I think it's set in, to his family home during summer, and she believes they're going to be quite a humble family. However, when she gets there, that's not the case. They are really, really rich. Yes, so they're really, really rich. It wasn't something that she doesn't expect them to be that rich. I think they're called Crazy Rich Asians, so I think it's crazy levels of richness, and she's not what the family wanted for him in terms of somebody that he would, one day marry. And I do remember that there's a wedding at the end, but I can't remember whose wedding it is, and yeah, I don't remember too much about the film for some reason. So that'll be good, because then at least when I read the book, maybe I'll be surprised at some things that happen. And then the last one that I bought is Heartless, and it's by Marissa Mayer. Now she wrote the Lunar Chronicles, which is kind of fairy tales reimagined, which I've not read, but it is on my list of books that I'd like to read. This book specifically is following the Queen of Hearts before she was the Queen of Hearts. So it's her story. It's when she was a girl and she wanted to fall in love. I think the King of Hearts was really interested in her, but I think she might have fallen in love with someone else. So it's going to be quite interesting to kind of see the story behind the Queen of Hearts, because we only know her from the Alice in Wonderland story when she's actually the Queen of Hearts before. So this is going to be before all that happened, and kind of what happened to her, and I think that sounds really fun. I like a retelling, so, well, it's not really retelling, is it? I like a reimagination, following characters we already know, but in a different light, so that will be really fun. And that's all of them. That is all the ebooks that I've bought recently. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of them, which ones you think I should pick up first, and yes, thank you very much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!